Good morning or afternoon or whatever it is for you when you're watching this video. If you're in class watching it, it's noon, which is awesome. That's when we have this class. So game design students, I'm happy to see you guys here. This is the second video in our heads up display video series here. And so in the previous video, I took the guided tour and we added a few things. So if you haven't watched that first video, make sure you go back and watch that and have done these kind of things. We added a second layer, a HUD layer. We made the parallax of that layer 0 by 0. We added a tomato counter and we added a health bar, and we made sure to give our player a double jump as well as a spawn point for when they fall off the side. Okay. Now in this video, we're going to add a few events and a few variables here. Okay, throughout our game to track not only our health, but also as well as the, dude, tripping over my words so bad, to track our health as well as the number of tomatoes that we are collecting. Okay, and what's going to happen is if our player health reaches 0, it's going to be game over. But if our player collects all the tomatoes, it's going to be you win. Okay, which is pretty exciting. So let's go ahead first to our event sheet, and the first thing we're going to program is our health. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just position my mouse in this empty space and right click. And what we need to add is a global variable. Okay. And a variable, if you've done some programming, you will have some experience with this, but it's basically a way to keep track of a value or a string or a Boolean, which is just a true or false, specifically for use in the program. In this case, we're keeping track of a value. And the name we're going to have here is our player health. Okay, player health. Sorry, I want to change that. I don't want it to be player health. The reason why is our player health bar is also called player health. So I just want to call this health num, right? Num just short for number. This is our health number. Our initial value is going to be 3, right? So we're starting with 3 lives or 3 health, and then every time you fall off the edge of the game and destroy the player and they respawn, it's going to just subtract 1 from the health, okay? So our initial value is going to be 3, and we're just going to click OK. And you're going to see that's going to add up right here, health num. We're going to add another number here, so just right-click while we're on this. We're going to add another global variable. All right, and this one we're going to call tomato num, and this is our number of tomatoes, right? Once again, we're just going to leave it as number. Our initial value will be 0, right, because we're starting at 0 tomatoes collected. Okay, we're going to count upwards. So now we have these 2 global variables, and these are really important here, okay, that we have those, and we have those named like that, and then we have those initial values so that we can then go and change those initial values, okay? What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and add an event, and this is going to be in the system. And we've used this event in previous games. It's really useful, but it is going to be, in general, it's going to be every tick. And remember, this means every time, a tick is every time the screen refreshes, which is going to be somewhere between 30 and 60 frames per second, right? So 30 to 60 times per second, which is super fast. Okay, it's going to refresh the frame, and it's going to do whatever we tell it to do in that moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple actions. Number 1, okay, we're going to go to player health, and we're going to go to set space value. Wait, that's not what we're going to do. Where is this? Set progress. Sorry, that's not my bad. We want to set progress, okay? So set progress right here under progress bar, okay? And we're going to set this equal to health num right here, okay? We're just going to set it equal to health num, all right? What we're also going to do is we're going to add an action, and we're going to take our text here, our tomato counter, and we're going to set text, right? So type in set text, and it's right here, set text, and we're going to set that to tomato num, right? Tomato num right here. And what that's saying is every time the screen refreshes, we want it to take our progress bar and we want to set that equal to whatever our health number is. And then we want to set our tomato counter to whatever our tomato number is, however many tomatoes we've collected. All right. Now what we're going to do is add in just a little bit of action here. We don't have to actually create a new event for this, okay? Because we've made it so that when our player is destroyed, right, when he leaves the thing, he respawns. We're just going to add another action on this event right here, okay? And in this, we have to go to our system, okay? and we have to look for global and local variables. So you can scroll down just a little bit, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and click set value. Actually, sorry, we're gonna go subtract from, okay? Set value, we have to do a little bit more math, and so we're gonna just do subtract from, okay? And we're gonna go health num, and we're gonna go value by 1, all right? So it has our default here, just make sure we got health num and make sure our value is just 1, all right? We're gonna click done. And so it's saying when our player is destroyed, it's gonna respawn our player at our spawn point, and then it's gonna subtract 1 from health num, and then as the screen refreshes, it's gonna set our progress to health num. So let's go ahead and play our game now, and let's see if this works. So we have our player, we have our cool, oh, I left the side, and you can see when I jumped too high, right? Okay, it exited me out. But if I fall off the side, I respawn and my health goes down. So it went from 3 to 2, 2 to 1, right? And if I just fall off the side again, it's now gonna be at 0, okay? So we want to program an action that will happen, okay, when we reach 0. So we're gonna go to layout 1, and we need to make sure we have our HUD layer selected here. And I'm gonna double click, and I'm gonna add in text again. So just search for text, okay? And I want to make this text big, 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 right in the middle, okay? So stretch it out. Go to your properties, change the horizontal alignment to center, change the vertical alignment to center, and then just change the size to like 100. Is 100 too big? No, 100's fine, okay? And then we want to make our text in our properties say game over, right? Something like that, and you can make the color red. I don't know. Is red a good game over color? Okay. And then the last thing we're going to change here is this right here, initially visible. We need to make this invisible. Okay. Make it initially invisible. Go back to your event sheet here. Okay. And now we're going to add another event. And in this case, we're going to go to System, and we're going to scroll down to Global and Local Variables, and we're going to compare a variable. Okay. And we're going to say if our health num is equal to 0, as soon as it reaches 0, right, we're going to add an action. We're going to go to, oh, I didn't change this text, you guys. I did a very bad thing, okay? In our project panel over here, see where this says text? I can't leave that just saying text. I'm going to just have this say game over like that, okay? Game over. That's really important. You can't leave that as text. Why? Because when you go to do your events, it's confusing, like I just got confused. So I'm glad I caught that early, okay? Anyways, let's go back to our event, right? When health number equals 0, we're going to add an action. We're going to go to game over, and we're going to go just search for visible, and we're going to set it to be visible, okay? Right there. Then the other thing we want to do is we want to disable our player's default controls, right? So they can't move the player anymore. So let's go to add action. All right. We're going to go to player, and we're going to search for set default controls, okay? Right here. So you can just type in DEF, and we just want to leave that as not checked, right? Okay, and that's going to set platform default controls to false. So let's watch what happens when we do this. Okay, I'm going to start up my game. I'm going to just fall off the side once. Okay, I have 2 lives left. I'm going to fall off the side again. I got 1 life left. I'm going to fall off the side again. And we respawn, game over, but you notice my player can't move, right? He can like wiggle around, but can't move anymore. Okay, so game over. Awesome, there we go. Now, we're going to do a very similar thing, but we're going to add in our tomato number this time and make it go up every time we touch a tomato. Okay, now luckily we already have an event set up for grabbing tomatoes. All right, so on collision, this very first one, on collision with tomato, we destroy the tomato, but then we want to add an action. We want to go to System, and we want to scroll down to Global and Local Variables. And this time, instead of doing subtract from, we're going to do add to. Okay. And we're not going to do our health number. We're going to do our tomato number, tomato num. We're going to add to it by 1. So every time our player touches a tomato, it's going to destroy the tomato. It's going to add 1 to tomato number. And then our every tick event will update our tomato number to be whatever tomato number is. All right. So let's go ahead and play the game, okay, and see if this works. So look, I collected a tomato, 2, 3, 4, and I fell off the side. But you'll notice, okay, my tomato number doesn't reset. because it's a global variable. It doesn't reset. Okay, now if it was an instance variable and we destroyed our player, okay, and then our player respawned, our instance variable would likely reset, or there's a possibility of it. It might not always, but our global variables will stay the same, okay? Now we have 8 tomatoes in our game, so what we're gonna do, okay, so we're gonna go to layout. We're actually gonna go to our game over, okay? And we're gonna right-click it here in our project panel, and we're gonna clone, okay? We're gonna go ahead and drag it out. Game over 2. We can position it right over the other one. But instead, we're going to go to our properties. We're going to change the name to you win. And we're just going to go to take in our properties. We're going to change the text to you win with an exclamation point. Okay? And we can change our color to something like, I don't know, what's a winning color? Green. Okay? Right? And then we're going to go to our event sheet. We're going to add an event. We're going to say system. We're going to scroll down to global and local variables, and we're going to compare our variables. And we're not going to do health num. We're going to do tomato num. And we're going to say when tomato num is equal to 8, which is how many tomatoes I have in my. Now, you need to count how many tomatoes are in your guided tour that you made. All right, but when tomato num is equal to 8, okay, we're going to add an action. We're going to take our you win text. We're going to search for visible. We're going to set it to visible. And once again, we're going to take our player and we are going to search for default controls. You can put DEF. We're going to set default controls to not checked to false. All right, so once you get your 8th tomato, it's going to say you win. It's just going to freeze up the game. So we have tested out our you lose or game over thing. Oh, I'm scared of jumping off the side. But now we're going to test out our you win function, okay? I'm being very careful not to jump off the side because I want to win. And 7 and 8. And you win, and now my player's disabled, okay? And there we go. So we have added into our game a heads-up display. We've made our player respawn. We've added a health bar, a tomato counter, a game over notification, and a you win notification. We could add some more things like a button to reset the whole game when it's game over or when you win. And there's some more things we can add to this. But for this right here, I think this is an awesome just little addition to the game. And hopefully you can take what you've learned here and add this to some of your other games using a heads-up display. Thanks, guys, for your hard work. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.